Oaksy Ground ALB 5510 with Sierra request taxi for takeoff east departure.
ALB 5510 taxi 2 and hold short of runway 11 via taxiway Alpha 1 Delta 2 cross runway 15 Delta Tree, cross runway 29er Delta 4 Charlie 1. Contact tower on 118.305 when ready.
Taxiing hold short runway 11 via taxiway Alpha 1 Delta 2 cross runway 15 Delta Tree cross runway 29er Delta for Charlie 1 ALB 5510.
100 above. Minimum.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted. Locking gear.
Cabin crew, arm doors and cross-check. Ladies and gentlemen, please observe the cabin crew. Thank you.
You need to stop the engines to request ground services.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard our Airbus A320. Please pay attention to illuminated signs and crew instructions, including the following safety procedures. The safety card found in your seat. Information about exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets, and the brace position, which you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 8 emergency exits on this aircraft. The cabin crew are now pointing out the exits nearest to you. Please be aware that your nearest behind you. Emergency lighting will guide you to an exit. In an emergency, leave all baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened whenever the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Hold the mask in place with the strap, pull on each side to adjust, put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take a life jacket from under your seat. Remove from the pouch and put it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist and click together. Pull the strap to adjust. Do not inflate the life jacket inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate it by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into this tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting attention. The cabin crew can assist you with life jackets for children. Your tray table must now be stowed, armrest down, window blinds open, and seatbelt fastened. Further information regarding your safety on board can be found in the in-flight magazine. We hope you have a great flight. Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be dimming the lights. You can turn on a reading light using the controls above your head or in your armrest.
To stop the engines to request ground services. You need to stop the engines to request ground services. To set parking brakes to request ground services. This parking is too small for your aircraft.
cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Oaksy Tower ALB 5510 at runway 11 ready for departure to the east.
ALB 5510, wind 114 at 12. Departure to the east approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 11.
Cleared for takeoff runway 11 ALB 5510. Warsaw approach ALB 5510 is type Airbus 5 miles east of Oaksey, 2,200 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
ALB 5510 Warsaw approach. Squawk 0077.
Squawk 0077 ALB 5510.
ALB 5510 radar contact 6 miles northwest of Echo Papa Kilo Uniform, 3,800 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your
Clear ALB 5510, contact Minsk Center on 119er decimal 125. Good day. 119er decimal 125 ALB 5510. Goodbye. Minsk Center ALB 5510 flight level 200.
ALB 5510, Minsk Center radar contact. Continue.
check. Ah, wow, all this time, no audio. I had a USB cable plugged in, and wow, that sucks. We're half an hour into this flight, and I just discovered all this time, no audio. I had a USB cable plugged in, and wow, that sucks. We're half an hour into this flight, and I just discovered. Okay, so apologies for that. Audio was not on. I think it now is. Wow. Huh. Well, welcome to the stream. Streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We are en route from Warsaw, Poland to Moscow, and you would have heard that before if I had unplugged a certain cable from the mixer. And here we are now with live audio. That's crazy. Apologies for that. Did a cold and dark setup using GSX, which was malfunctioning. So we've installed GSX payware mods, and we're running the Phoenix A320 IAE version up to now without audio. So let's see, how long was that? Roughly half an hour. So half an hour without audio. Streaming live. That's just magnificent. Well, that's what happens when you engineer by yourself. So welcome to the feed. AlBlock7267 on YouTube. AlBlock on Facebook. Like, share, follow, subscribe, please, if you're watching. And you're seeing all kinds of screw-ups today because we did a whole bunch of studio revamping, including a monitor. I can show you the monitor. Put the new big monitor up on the wall. I reset the cam there. So we're watching the YouTube stream live up on the big monitor. And iPad has the Navigraph charts and SimBrief flight plan on it, which is separate. I don't use that on the system anymore. I have it on an iPad just to keep things flowing more smoothly on the frame rate. Frame rate's been pretty good. Just to get you up to speed, currently that's where we are. We're en route. UUEE, that's Moscow. Pretty long flight. It's going to be about a 2-hour flight, I think. We're coming up on the next page on the flight plan. Osmos? Yeah, Osmos. In 11 miles. 17 miles, I mean. So we're en route. And again, apologies for the no audio. That's going to be, you'll see a whole lot of me talking if you play this back with no audio. Yes, freaking great. I'll get over that. This is a test, another test stream. Probably some people are happy they didn't hear me talking. On a positive note, SimBrief is working. Flight Sim is working pretty nicely. We're somewhere over Eastern Europe at 20,000 feet. Cruising. In the Airbus A320. I think we'll have simulated passenger deboarding once we arrive, if everything works right on GSX. GSX malfunctioned, being I couldn't get the GSX menu. Let's see, that pops up now. I keep on getting the can't connect to SimBrief message. I don't know why. Maybe we'll just leave that up. We'll keep it up there in the corner. If I ever need to access it, let's see, does it? Alright, good, it pops open, that's good. So GSX, that's ground operations with passenger simulation, more realistic, jetways, parking locations, ground crew, de-icing. I probably should have de-iced before this flight. De-icing and fuel, catering, baggage. A little bit more realistic than the flight simulator versions. Works fully in conjunction. Of course, the issue today was no menu on GSX. This was not popping up, and in fact it went away now. So apparently the GSX menu does not stay open. Okay folks, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on a brief pause. So we'll go to an interlude with a be right back screen, and it's time here in California for me to take a quick little break, and I'll let I could let it stream and keep flying, but I'll put a BRB on it. Let's see what it looks like. Well, it looks like that. Stream is still running. Be right back. quick little break. Long flight. Everything seems to be functioning nicely. What's that out there? Look at the sunset. That's interesting. It's a red sun. Wow. Welcome back to the stream. Warsaw, Poland to Moscow, Russia. Little Eastern Europe ventures. I've never been over here in the flight simulator. No, I am not a Putin fan. Just for my anybody watching. Just thought it would be interesting. So here we go. We've been flying for about 45 minutes to an hour already. It's a 2-hour flight roughly, I believe. Let me check the destination. Yeah, roughly about 300 miles left, nautical miles, which will be about an hour flying time at this point. Chronometer readings right here. That was started up about 10 minutes after flight, so it's really 10 minutes longer than that. You can see we have our brakes set to medium on arrival. Currently cruising at 20,000. Full autopilot, 0.73 Mach, something around 300 knots. Over Eastern Europe. I'm guessing that's the sun coming up. That's interesting. This is in real time, so that must be the sun coming up. Checking out the big monitor now. We have the YouTube going up there. So I'm watching the YouTube feed live. We have Phoenix Discord going on one of the monitors, OBS on the other. Streaming, restreaming OBS with Facebook Live and YouTube. So you can visit me on Al Block on my Facebook page if you're a friend. It is a public feed. Looks like we're banking. Yeah, we are banking. And YouTube, AlBlock7267, AlBlock7267 on YouTube. Like, share, follow, subscribe, please, if you're watching this. I don't have very many followers. I've been doing this for a while, but I only go out like once a week on this, and that could be why. Or maybe they just don't like me, or they don't like the feed, or they're bored, or it's a lot of the flights I do are long distance, so it can be kind of tedious. Sometimes I'll put my own original music up on the feeds if you're listening, and you'll hear some of my stuff, my original tunes that personally copywritten, so they're mine and nobody can debate it. And I may put something on to put a SoundCloud. You can hear it, ALB Tunes, ALB Tunes, ALB Tunes, one word. Again, Facebook, AlBlock7267. And this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Pretty much usually the Phoenix A320 now. I have flown a few. I've done the Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner. Waiting for some good ones to come out. I may download the PMDG mod for the Boeing jets here pretty soon, 737s, and start playing with that. But for now, I'm kind of mastering the Phoenix. Phoenix is pretty much study level, pretty close anyway, to what you would have to do in flight. And I'm not really that great at it. I'm about halfway there. So if you're a beginner watching this kind of stuff, you may pick up some things from me that I've picked up. I try to go through the cold and dark setups and make it slow and understandable. A lot of the sim pilots that are out there streaming do rush through it, and it's pretty hard to pick up. I was never able to follow any of the sim guys out there. I had to do it myself. But to figure it all out, I did get some hints from a pretty popular flight simulator guy named Flight Streamer. It was very helpful in getting me up and running. lots of good suggestions from him. I do follow him regularly, and I recommend that if you're doing this, you do watch his streams. He's on, I don't think he's on Facebook anymore. I think it's pretty much YouTube and Twitch, I believe. So Flight Streamer, thanks for that. Mariner Halley also has helped me out quite a bit. He's another streamer. I give shouts out to them. They probably don't follow me too closely, but I do follow them. All the people on the Phoenix Discord, there's some helpful folks on there, and there's some people who are just flat out assholes. But the ones that are helpful really make it worthwhile. You put a question up on the Discord, and there's some folks who are pretty eager to help you out. And I've been able to help some people out too on the Discord. So Phoenix Discord, thanks to everybody on there. This is a hobby for me. I do it for fun. I don't do it for money. I don't have that many followers or subscribers at this point. I'm hoping that will happen at some point, because I'm going to keep on doing this, and I will be upping the amount of streams here in the near future. It's quite relaxing for me, and I enjoy it. I'm getting pretty good at the takeoffs and landings. Today was a little bit of a butcher job. I kind of rushed through it because GSX was not working. We do have the GSX mod right here, and that gives us crew ground operations with some level of detail. Simulated passengers, they actually come onto the aircraft through the jetways or up the stairs. Once they get in the cabin, they disappear. I don't know why they don't seat them. Maybe someday GSX will seat them in actual seats. Not sure for the reason of that. It's probably some programming coding thing. But they do board passengers. It does work in conjunction with SimBrief. I've noticed that the deboarding is very time consuming using the GSX passengers. I haven't fine-tuned it yet, but today GSX menu was not even appearing, so I would click on GSX like this. The menu was not appearing. Now it is. I clicked on reload SimBrief a number of times. Some kind of a code error. So it's not relating to SimBrief at this point. Maybe when we land it will be. Yeah, I've got the aviator shades going here today. My Palm Springs pink hat. No, I'm not of that persuasion. I just like the pink hat. But I like a lot of those folks. They probably don't like me, but that's okay too. Anyway, en route to Moscow. We'll be arriving there probably within the next hour or so. We're roughly about 250 nautical miles out. So begin our descent at Aklok. I need to take off the sunglasses to see this. We may be on that page already. No, not yet. We're still on page 1. We're quite a ways. Well, we're 249 nautical miles from destination. Top of descent, they changed it. Alright, so after Gidley, it was after Aglon, now it's after Gidley. So Gidley will be the top of descent. That's interesting. It's going to get us up to 320 nautical miles per hour. Now we're cruising almost at 340. That's interesting. 7.73 Mach. So that'll actually be a slowdown. Okay, well that all looks good. So I didn't see anything unusual about the flight plan when I set it up. Actually, it was fairly smooth today for some reason. The big hang-up was the GSX, and that's just a matter of getting it down. After today, I'll be doing some YouTubes on it and talking to folks in Discord and seeing what they think about it. So a shout out to the Discord folks. That's the Phoenix Discord anyway. Producer Andy for originally helping me get this all set up. I gotta say a shout out to him. I usually do.
ALB 5510, contact Moscow Center on 119.5.
There's some activity here. I'm gonna check the altitude landing.
119.5 ALB 5510. Goodbye. Moscow Center ALB 5510, flight level 200.
ALB 5510, Moscow Center, radar contact, continue.
We're gonna be landing on 6R in Moscow. Just did a couple of turns. That's a sun up. I've never seen a sun up on Flight Simulator. Very cool. Alright, so what I was looking for was runway 6R. And I'm going to go into SimBrief right now and check out the or charts. Here's charts on the iPad. I'm watching it on YouTube with a 10-second delay. So you have Navigraph and SimBrief on the iPad. Runway 6R in Moscow. It will be the right side or the lower runway. You can see that, probably not. R is a heading of 63 degrees and 619 feet elevation. So we're going to set that now. I'm going to set this to 600 feet. And we'll be activating that at the top of descent. And that's how you get the increments in hundreds right there. You can do fast or slow by just holding the left button of your mouse down here. You can see that little circular arrow. That's down, that would be up. Pushing the button activates it. If I set this way, that would be a managed flight. And you'll see a dot up here. So this is important to know with the Phoenix. If you want to do a managed flight, you get the arrow right there and pointing up, and that will push. Then you left click it and it'll push the button in. If you put the arrow there and you push the left button, it will be selected flight. So you can select the altitude manually like this with your left button and your roller on your mouse, and then pushing down would give you selected altitude. Again, on top that would be managed, and that goes the same for all of these too. This is your heading. The heading I did not set on this flight for the runway. Normally you set the heading for the runway heading when you take off. I failed to do that today, but it still functioned okay. And this of course is the managed speed, and that you can see the dots are in place, and that means that we are at the prescribed speed on the flight plan. It shows via constraints on the not only the flight displays, but in the MCDU unit right here, you'll see constraint notifications. So if I scroll down, you can see the magenta dots. Those are constraints telling us that the speed is going to slow down at this altitude and so forth. And they will appear on this screen as well. So you'll see them on there. So flight plan, current, we're cruising at 0.73 Mach at 20,000, not 210. That was a programming glitch right there. There's 0.73, which is pretty close to 340 nautical knots. I'm sorry, knots for airspeed, not nautical. Maybe it is nautical miles per hour, I don't know. And here's our plan. We're currently set to arc, and this gives us the distances, 20, 30, and so forth. If I take this out to 80, we can see the next waypoint. 160, that's 160 miles out. You can see the upcoming waypoints. This, I believe, is going to be our top of descent. This little line. And the purple dots would indicate constraints in the flight plan. A little background information, just so you know. Again, this is a Phoenix mod A320 with the IAE engines. Can't see it in the darkness here, but sun's coming up. The graphics and the realism on this are very good. I don't have this flight simulator set to ultra, so it's kind of a compromise to get to get your scenery flowing smoothly. No stuttering as you get closer to the ground. It seems that when you get closer to the ground, the stuttering seems to happen. Frames per second, decrease, and you can see stuttering. But the way I have this compromised, it doesn't happen at this point. So there's a little fine tuning and tweaking you have to do, and you do it in the flight simulator options. So again, anybody that has questions on any of this, feel free to reach out to me in the Phoenix Discord or on my feed page, Facebook and YouTube. In the comments, there's chats and comments in there for access. I check them after the flight when I'm doing an experimental run like this. I'm not going to be looking today. And let me get my pilot glasses back on. So again, welcome to the feed. We'll be approaching Moscow in a little bit. I don't know the name of the airport. I can't pronounce it. We'll be doing our descent shortly. The Phoenix app, the new V2B2 block version that was just released about 3 weeks ago, does have flight crew announcements as they're occurring in the PA system. I usually open up the cabin door so we can hear them better. In fact, let's go out and do a cabin view right now. So there's going to be some jumping when I do this. And so in the cabin view, if I left click again, that puts me up closer to the wing, or maybe not. Do it one more time. That should get us close to the wing. Oh, right up in front, but we're not seeing the wing. Well, no wing views yet. It's too dark outside, I guess. Excuse me. So there we go, we have a cabin view there. And again, the GSX passengers seem to disappear when they don't have an actual mod yet. I don't think that you can actually have the passengers sitting in these seats. I don't think anything actually functions. I think it's just an actual picture. I don't know how they coded this. But you can actually not sit somebody in these seats in the mod. Although you will see in GSX, maybe at the end here of the flight, passengers will deboard right here and you'll see actual characters. It kind of look like claymation. They'll deboard right here. They'll go through the jetway and they'll do it very slowly. And there's some cabin noise when they're doing it, actually talking to the flight crew. And then the flight crew will deboard and so will the pilot and the co-pilot. And you'll see them leave the jetway. That's GSX, the ground mod. So now, that being said, so we're pretty much center of aircraft right now in this particular shot. And here's the galley in the back. And I think we can just get out of here now. We might be getting close to destination. Let's have a looky. See how far out we are. Yeah, we're getting fairly close. We don't need to enter the destination data. We've already done that. So we're getting fairly close. Take a look for top of descent and see where we are. Gidley will be our top of descent, if I remember correctly, yes. So we have 40, 63-ish, 60-ish miles to top of descent. So we can set this here. Let's see if we can see it. Let's set it to 80. There's Gidley, there's top of descent. I'll just keep this somewhere around the 40 range. When we're looking at miles, you can see here 20, 30 miles, 40. Each one of these is 10 miles, 10 nautical miles. So our next waypoint is roughly 40 nautical miles out from here. Once we get to the top of descent designation, I will click this button to turn it into a programmed manage flight by positioning my cursor right here, left clicking, and the dots will appear next to this altitude, 600 feet. I've already determined that the runway in Moscow is about 630 feet, so I set it a little below just to make sure we get a good clean landing. As we approach, oh wow, I just accidentally throttled up, so hang on. That's a mistake. Don't ever do that. As we get closer to approach, we'll set ILS, and then you can see that the ILS, if I have the charts up, and I still do, ILS will become available. Right here is our glide slope, and this is our approach vectors. 63 degrees for that runway. And it's a 63 degree decline here. That's interesting. But that's our level. 2,000 feet we'll be able to grab ILS. Maximum 160 knots at that point. So this is the actual charts for it. Here we can see runway elevation 619. So there you go. And that's how we're going to bring it in. And of course over here on the other side, so 619, and we have the elevation set. Sorry about that. Elevation set for 600, so slightly below 619. I could set it for 500 if I want a little bit steeper descent. A little word on the charts. This is through SimBrief. Let's center this up so we can see where we are. On the world map. That's supposed to be centered, but it's, oh, okay, it is. Okay. Skyakva. Skyakva. Okay. Skyakva. Whatever. So, sim brief charts, as I was saying, these are actual Jepson charts. ILS runway 6, these are the frequencies, air traffic, localizer, 109.1. So if I look in those, as we approach, if I look in the RadNav button, we should see those. This is the actual ILS frequency, 109.1. It's in bold. And we would see that in the radio navigation button. I think we still have the APUs on. Let me double check. They should be off, but I think they're on. Now that I'm reminding myself. Oh no, they're off. Okay, good. Okay, we do have de-ice on at the moment. So we're getting pretty close, and so I'm going to change some of the lighting. We'll put the landing lights on. And we're going to put the taxi lights on. Runway turn lights are on. Currently we have seatbelt lights on. We can let the passengers roam around if we want, but I don't ever do that. And a lot of times I forget to turn this off after we've landed just because of process. And most passengers just take their seatbelts off anyway. Yes, I know I'm rambling a little bit. Back to the charts. So these are the Jepson charts just for informational purposes, navigational charts intended for flight simulation only. These are not for navigational, although they are current. This is not something that you could load up in your iPad and take into your private pilot plane. You would have to have your own updated real-world Jepson charts for that. But this is up to date. There's a subscription service to SimBrief and Navigraph. So this is one of the things that I've paid for in Flight Simulator. You get SimBrief, Navigraph charts, and the mod itself, which is Phoenix, as well as GSX for the ground crew. So, but overall, not that expensive. Okay, the monthly subscription for the Phoenix, I think, is, I'm sorry, for the SimBrief Navigraph is, I think, about $9 or $10 US a month, and I have that on auto pay. So I don't even really think about it. It just comes to me, and the AirRack cycles are reset. The Phoenix was a one-time purchase. I think it was $49, and then the GSX was $29.99. So we got 50, 30, 80, and the initial for this. So it's probably, apart from a flight sim, I've got about 100 in. I got 100 in the 150 in the throttles, the HOTUS throttles. I'll see if I can show it to you. There's the HOTUS Thrustmaster throttles right there. That puts us at about maybe 500, so 500 or so. I'm sorry, I take that back. 250 or so. 50. Anyway, yeah, less than 100. $100 for that, so 250-ish. And the only other thing I can say is the monitor itself. I have the Samsung Curved Monitor 36, which was quite expensive. At the time that I bought it, it was about $600. Two side monitors, courtesy of my former employer, which I don't run as windowed, I run them as separate monitors. And then, of course, the flight simulator itself, which I believe was somewhere in the neighborhood of $100. So there may be about $500 in this setup. Microphone, I've got a pretty high-end studio mic. Got several actually. We're running a Tascam Model 24 board, which I could probably show it. Let me grab the camera so I can show it. Yeah, there's the 24 board back there, somewhere in that area. Yeah, it's over there. Can't tell if that's it. Oh, that's the laptop. You can't really see the board. There's the board back there. Tascam Model 24 board that's used for streaming and music recording. It's very versatile. It's also live. You want to do live PA kind of stuff with sound reinforcement. Of course, everybody knows my studio. I've got a bunch of guitars hanging up. I do play. Let's go back to our front screen here as we're coming in. We should be getting fairly close to our top of descent. In fact, I may have already talked through the top of descent. You popped in it? Yeah, we did. Let's get the top of descent going here. I was rambling. So top of descent, we're going to go like this. And we're going to take this thing down now. I think we just passed the top of descent after here. Let's go back a page. Oh, depop. So it's asking for more drag. That means we're going to engage the speed brakes. Speed brakes are now engaged. May be able to see them outside. Now we begin our descent. $11 miles to depop. We should be at 12,700 by the time we get there. We have a pretty good rate of descent going. Of course, we are above our desired speed. Speed brakes are on. We don't need destination data. You can see the speed brakes are on right there. If we go outside, you can see we are descending. Sun up over Russia. Get some side views. Yeah, we can also, if we want to, change some camera views. Those are external views. We have some stuff going on here we need to check. So it's sped up at that particular waypoint, I believe. We're finishing depop at 270. Okay, it's found it. And we're at 11,000 feet. It's right about where we should be. Here's the under view, belly view, there's the IAE engines. We'll keep that for now. External I can adjust. We'll put external something like this. Back to the cockpit. Let's make sure we're getting everything done properly here. So 270 knots, flight level 127. We're already past that. We're in the 250 range, going out to 10,000. And we're going to make that on time at Lasra. Continuing down. You can see we're coming up on final here. Sorry about the jumpiness, we'll pull back out. Alright, system adjusting for speed. Let's try to figure out where we are. I'm gonna zoom back out here, put this at about 20 miles so we can see it a little more clearly. In fact, I could probably do it to 10. Alright, that gets a more clear indication of where we are. There's Lasra. We need to be 250 knots at 9,000 feet. You can see we're at 250. There's 9,000 coming up as we reach that waypoint. So we're right on course, right on schedule. This right here, I believe, is a decel at Rubit. Let's have a looky. Yep, there's Rubit with a decel. So we'll slow down to 229. We may even slow down to 230 before that. You will see that this dot here will change our speed indicator. Just for the sake of watching it happen, here's our constraint. We're at 250 now. This will drop us to the next speed indication as soon as we hit it. And there it goes. So now we've told the aircraft we want to be at 230 knots. We check that right there. There it is on the constraint. And by the time we get to Rubit, we should be at 230. And the altitude, 8,000, so we're right on course, right on time. Aircraft is adjusting to get us to 230. You can hear the engines winding up, spooling. Now we're at the 8,000 foot level. And everything is going fine. Once we get to 220 knots, we can drop the flaps. Speed brake's still armed. I think we can take that off now. You saw it come off here on the indicator. No more speed brake required. We're flying into Moscow. Looks like some low-level clouds. I don't know if that's just the scenery or not. Let's go outside and look what's going on. Autopilot will take co-pilot will take care of that.
122.7 ALB 5510. Goodbye.
Should change. There we go. 122.70.
ALB 5510 8,000 feet.
ALB 5510 Sherameyevo, approach altimeter 29.990, radar contact, continue.
Okay, let's get the altimeter set to 29990. Hopefully they don't change it on us too much. 2990. Alright, so our altimeters are all set. SimBrief tells me we're 30 miles out. So we're going to start to get ready for landing. Can make an announcement to the cabin. Cabin crew prepare for landing. Medium on the brakes. We can probably switch ILS on, but we're not quite there yet. So currently the autopilot has us at about 190, so we could actually engage flaps if we wanted to. 190 at 8,000 feet. So we're doing okay. It's actually about 185. We've met the constraint. 181 by CUSIP. That's due far. So we're actually doing better on the speed than we need to be. We need to be hitting the descent marker for this one here pretty soon to get us down to where we need to be. Due far is going to be at 6,000 feet. Want to slow us down a bit. Okay, so more drag. That's interesting. We're going to put on some flaps if it wants more drag. So we just hit flaps 1. $22 miles, so we don't have to do gear yet. I'm surprised it hasn't dropped our altitude yet. Due far should be 210 knots, 6,000. We're currently at 185 knots. Now we're still on descent pattern. We can go to, we can switch ILS on just for the hell of it. Maybe approach mode. Actually, we should start to see some altitude decrease now. Wow, it's not dropping our altitude. That's interesting. We're too high. Let's expedite. We need to be at 4,300 by CUSIP. Yeah, we need to drop some altitude pretty quick. We're going to keep flaps too. Alright, so we're at 14 miles out. So I'm going to drop the gear. I usually do it about 15 miles out. Gear down. So we just passed CUSIP and we're not at 4,000 yet, but we're dropping pretty nicely. We're at 190-ish, so technically we could put out flaps 3 if we wanted to. And I may just do that now the gear is down. We'll go to flaps 3. We're on approach mode. There's the runway. Let's expedite down a little bit more. So we need to be at 2,000 by the next one. But you can see that we're right on the ball with the ILS. We're a little high. And it's drifting up a little bit. So let's go full flaps.
2,500.
No speed brake. Full flaps. It's like we're descending a little bit too fast.
Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Full up. Full up. Full up. Too low for range. Too low for range.
That's interesting.
Light is lower. 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 Light is lower.
Okay, we're going to try to do this manually.
Light is lower. 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 Light is lower.
Getting a little stuttering.
Light is lower. Light is lower.
Pretty jumpy. Ready for reverse thrusters?
Holding 30. Retard. 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 Retard.
After that, I feel like a retard.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls, or internet access may now be used.
All right, so we made it down. A couple of, I'm going to just pause here on the side of the runway for a second. Make sure we're clear of the runway. And we are. Snow on the ground in Moscow. The altitude of the runway and the autopilot system, something wasn't recognized and forced us too low too quick. Could have been on the expediting. Forced to take over manually, which is fine. And completed a manual landing. Trying to pull up from the too low position. So everything that could go wrong with this flight pretty much went wrong. And there's some glitches that probably caused it. But anyway, so here we are now. We did do a safe landing. Reverse thrust was applied, but as I applied reverse thrust, it throttled forward. That means the reverse thrusters were not set properly. And now let's check with GSX and see if they have a follow me car. Don't tell me it's not going to work. Wonderful. Not going to work. So it's not working on the ground again.
Ground ALB 5510 taxi to the gate.
ALB 5510 taxi to gate 82 via taxiway Alpha 7 Alpha Sierra 806.
Taxiing to gate 82 via taxiway Alpha 7 Alpha Sierra 8 Sierra 6 ALB 5510.
Let's pick our own gate. Let's go to medium. Come on. Really? Come on, people. Let's go to gate 56-ish. We're going to do available 1 plus jetway. Don't have any mediums. That's interesting. Pick 86. Requesting follow me. See if it works. And we'll use theirs. Aeroflot. And hopefully the follow me car will show up. This is GSX functioning. We'll wait for the follow me. There it is. Now we're going to follow the follow me car. Keeping in mind that the IAE engines are pretty fast on the ground. We also have the taxi ribbons that are helping. We don't want to go off into the snow. So we have the follow me car and the taxi ribbons. I'm wondering if the taxi ribbons superseded the gate that was assigned by the flight simulator. Or if the follow me car reassigned it. And we're going to find out in a sec here. And the Russian follow me car drivers are pretty fast. There's snow on the ground in Moscow. And here we are in Russia. Safe arrival, manual landing. Pretty close to butter, actually, I thought. A little steep. But smooth. Reverse thrusters did activate. Now we don't want to get too close to the follow me car because it will stop if we get too close. They're taking us way out there. Okay, so it's 3/10 of a mile away. There's the gate on the left. Now we're going to see the deboarding, hopefully. We could probably switch down some of this stuff. To the IAE engines really want to go. I actually have it at idle thrust. Alright, so follow me cars ditching us. I wonder if there's another gate. Okay, he's just ditching us. Okay. So this is the proper gate. I think we selected it. Let's do this properly because we are graded on it. The marshals do some signaling that I haven't totally learned yet, so I'm going to hopefully get just the standard marshalling signals. See our scratches in the windshield. Let's try to get this nice and slow. Here we have a marshal, so we're in the right spot. Let's get this almost to stop. Even stop is good. So he's telling us to go left. Straight in. Good job. Locked. Park brakes are set. Well, they're supposed to be set, but they weren't. That's weird. The park brakes are set and they're not setting. What the hell? Okay, the brakes are on, but it was still rolling. Let's get chocks and cones out there fast because that's not good. All right, so we got jetway connected. Get the GSX menu up. Come on, people, get the GSX menu up. God. Shut her down. Make sure that we have GPU on. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Come on. Seriously. Too many glitches. Too many glitches. Ah. Way too many glitches here. Let's get the screen up. Come on, I said get that screen up. Chocks and cones are out. Let's try to get this jetway to come back.
You are currently parked at the wrong parking position.
Okay, so we're at the wrong parking position. So let's warp us there. Now we're at the correct parking position. So Flight Sim took us to the wrong spot. So there's a problem between Flight Simulator and GSX. But now we're at the correct spot, I think. Yeah, there's our ground crew. That's a GSX ground crew. All right, let's operate the jetway. There's the jetway guy. See, GSX parked us right on the line. Perfectly. This jetway will now intrude into the cabin. Let's see if it did. Maybe not. Hopefully not. Okay, good. Sometimes it does. It intrudes into the cabin. Now we're going to get a cabin view of people leaving. Lights are still out. Let's do a couple of things in here first. Like turn the fuel off. So we don't have any explosions. We can turn the de-icers off. We could turn the seatbelt signs off. Some of the lighting. Okay.
Cabin crew disarmed all.
And let's do the deboarding process with GSX, if it opens. And it's not.
Passengers boarding started.
Ladies and gentlemen, when disembarked, please take care and hold on to the handrail.
So it'll be interesting to see if this actually coincides.
Provide your children.
Or we can watch the passengers de-embark now. Disembark. Maybe. Yeah, there they are. In fact, we can go out there. And it is showing people leaving. So folks, this is GSX now functioning. It has been functioning off and on throughout the flight. So what we're seeing is the animated passengers. deboarding the aircraft. That guy was apparently too tall for that. He had to duck. And we can see this occur. It does take quite a while for GSX to deboard everybody, which is unfortunate. So let's go back to the cockpit for a moment. Start turning some things off. We'll leave external power on as long as possible. Make sure everything is off down here. Air's off. Relax. Flight controls. GPS. De-ice is already off. We can kill the packs. We'll leave the vents on for now. Stow the compass. Flaps. All that stuff looks good. PA off. Set that to off. Thruster and idle. Let's check the deboarding process. Is going pretty slowly. We can actually watch it. Sometimes the jetway is clear glass and you can see the passengers leaving through the jetway. This one isn't. We go outside, take a look around. Luggage crew leaving. Doors should close automatically, I think, with GSX. No? Cargo doors are still open. Interesting. Crew's still on board. And this is the GSX process. As you can see, we have our claymation passengers happy to have landed in the Russian Republic. Some of them are going to be swept away and put into a gulag, kind of like our January 6th people who are sitting there unjustly, while the actual criminal, Liz Cheney, should be there. That's my political comment for this stream. Let's throw all the patriots in jail. Okay, so arrival at Moscow again, flight summary. Approach was kind of iffy. Autopilot set to 600 feet for elevation of runway. It could be that the altimeter settings were improper. We did expedite the descent because it was not meeting the constraints. That could have something to do with the fact that we're flying into a Russian airport and it's not something that's updated in the AirX system. I don't know what caused it, but anyways, we did pull up before hitting the ground. We got to about 600 feet, pulled up, stayed below the glide slope pretty much until we got to where we needed to go, and then had a pretty safe buttery landing. So we were able to get past that. Reverse thrusters did not function immediately. They had to be set a second time and applied. We actually started to thrust up halfway down the runway. Was able to get to reverse and stop the vehicle. The follow me took us to the wrong gate. I should have followed the follow me car instead of the landing ribbons. But we did warp using GSX to the proper gate. So a few glitches in this flight, a lot of things that were learned. If you followed from the beginning, we had no audio. USB cable was plugged in from a prior recording session, so that kind of screwed things up. I think that we're okay with audio at this point. I'll have to listen back. The first half an hour will be no audio on the playback. Again, Phoenix A320 IAE engine configuration. Fast on the runways for fast on the taxiways, I should say. Requires a lot of braking. The CFM version is a little bit more manageable. I kind of tend to like the CFM version a little better. Although this is supposedly a more efficient engine, so. Everything that we did tonight was study level, for the most part, except for the GSX stuff. This was not properly set in the beginning. We just kind of rushed out. This was set to the proper altitude, 20,000, but the system recognized 21,000. Don't know why. We go here to the flight plan, and it's already deleted, but anyways, so we're good to go there. It was set on the MCDU for some reason at 21,000. It should have been 20. We did not set a runway heading initially, which may or may not have affected us. Didn't seem to. When we got to top of climb, the system did not show a constraint for top of climb. And so therefore we missed the top of climb because I was yakking. And that put us into a warning, which we deactivated and then got us down to CL thrust. And again, GSX was not functioning properly in this flight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a second flight today offline, try to work out some of the bugs, see if GSX is functioning properly, and go from there. But anyways, we're still deboarding. I'll wait till everybody's off before we end the stream, just for the hell of it this time. They will ask us to deboard the crew and the pilots at the end. Let's see how many we got left. We should have about 50 left. It's really slow. When you do the GSX, yeah, it's about 48 left. The GSX deboarding is really slow. If you use the flight simulator deboarding, it's much faster. Of course, there's no actual graphical people that you look at, but it's much faster. And I think that's due to the fact that we're looking at animation, graphic animation here, which may slow the deboarding process down. Why everybody's ducking like that? They must be really tall. Alright, so YouTube worked really good. The YouTube monitors that we have now set up in the studio look great. And I'll see if I can show a shot of that real quick on. There's our big new YouTube Facebook monitor showing the deboarding process. There it is on OBS, the main monitor. That's the big new YouTube monitor right there. Quick tour around the studio. The Wall of Fame. Johnny Cash Martin acoustic. Let me see if I can get over my head here. There's the guitar wall, starting with Jimmy Trini's Epiphone Dove, the red Mexican Strat year 2000, 60th anniversary black Fender Stratocaster American Deluxe, Epiphone Les Paul, also Jimmy Trini's. I inherited it after his passing. Les Paul Studio, 1959 Les Paul Burst, Fender Elite Jazz Bass 5-string, and that's the studio tour. So, live music does occur on this stream from time to time. So AlBlock7267 on YouTube for follow, share, like, subscribe, chat. Please, if anybody views this, please do that. Chat, suggestions. I don't care about the suggestions, to be honest with you. I don't really give a shit about that. You all can take your suggestions and put them where you want to, but, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I am. Likes, shares, follows are appreciated. Facebook, same thing. If you follow my Facebook page, you'll see the live come up. Join in, chat, leave me messages. I'll respond to them after the stream. Sometimes I can do it before the stream. Again, a couple of shout outs. Producer Andy. Special thanks to Bill Majette for his production and engineering skills yesterday on the audio stuff that we did, which will be appearing on this feed here, or we'll be listening to on this feed here within the next couple of streams. Discord for Phoenix. The Discord group, thanks for all of your help and suggestions as I stumble through some of the roadblocks that occur. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of roadblocks with Flight Simulator and Phoenix and GSX. But those guys and gals on the Phoenix Discord know a lot. Some of them have been on there for years. The Phoenix jet that we flew tonight, A320 IAE version, is what they consider in Flight Simulator land study level. So I went through the cold and dark setup, but unfortunately the audio was off. But then as we were in flight, you were able to witness a lot of the controlling that happens on the autopilot functions in the MCDU, the multifunctional computer display unit. Primary flight displays, PFDs, and the MFDs. Glare shield controls, all of the stuff was covered. Flight was pretty much went without a hitch until landing, but again we were able to pull off the landing manually, and it was pretty good. So, apart from the fact that we descended and got pretty low, we got pretty low before we pulled up. I think I got us back up to 1,000 feet before we resumed the descent properly. So GSX is fun. There's a lot of things that you have to do differently. The removal of the pin at the toe on pushback, setting the brakes, keeping the engines off until the tow truck operator tells you to. It's all pretty real world stuff. It's just a matter of getting the sequences down. Today I've done a lot of talking about this. Most of my voice is a little sore from talking about all of this stuff, but normally I just fly. I'm going to try to do more instructional as we go for any beginners that end up watching this on YouTube. All of my previous flights are saved. You may see 2 or 3 of them from last night where there was no flying, but we were trying to figure out if all the monitors were working properly. So we ended up doing a live stream for a minute or 2, 3 of them. So kind of ignore those until I can delete them. If you see anything up there, a stream that says 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 minutes, whatever, just delete those. Or don't view them. I'm going to be deleting them. And that's pretty much it. So let's witness the rest of the deboarding here and see where we're at. Let me take a look at the EFB and see how many we got left. Looks like we're getting pretty close. 5 passengers left. It actually went pretty smoothly. I listened back to some of the previous streams and I noticed that my voice sounds really different than what it sounds like to me. And I apologize for that. Stream thanks to OBS and the stream key setup and all of that stuff. Okay, here we go. Do we want to deboard the crew? Yeah, sure. Both crew and pilots. Let's see if I can watch this. Let's watch the stewardesses or the flight attendants leave. Pilots? Yes, no? Okay, flight attendants have left. Elvis has left the building. Alright, here go the pilots. And I think that's it for them. And now we can shut some systems down. Let's validate. Aircraft is empty. We're still on the external power unit. And we're going to go ahead and finish up here now. So let's turn the fans off. Actually, I should have done that while that was going on. And batteries off. External power off. And this flight is concluded, folks, so let's go ahead and exit. Oops, sorry about that, just knocked the microphone. And we'll take a quick look at some things here. Let's go to the main menu. Thanks for joining us again. I have removed the echo from the microphone. I may put that back on. I don't know. We're just going to check the profile and see if we got credit for the flight, since it was a manual landing. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 does a pretty good job. There's still a lot of bugs and glitches. Everybody knows that who uses it. So if you're using it, you're going to remember it. One thing I'm going to check right now is that I usually have this set up for full screen, but it seems to be switching itself back to windowed automatically by itself. So we're going to look at that. But first we'll look at the profile, and we'll look at the logbook and see if we got the EEUU or the UUEE. Yeah, there it is. So we got full credit there. I did some glider flights last night and they weren't working. Here's the last flight from Stockholm to Warsaw. And today we went from Warsaw to Moscow. Total flight time shows 1 hour and 38 minutes. And previously the Stockholm to Warsaw flight was 1:42. These are all completed flights. Total flight hours logged. Let's not look at how many times I crashed. Okay, so these are unsuccessfuls. Actually, that's not correct. These are successfuls. Okay. And now let's just take a look at the profile real quick and make sure that we have the options set. And you'll notice here, graphics are going to show up as windowed. They shouldn't be. It should be full screen. There we go. I'm pretty happy with the rest of these settings. Some of this stuff could be a little bit more realistic. Grass and bushes I don't really care about. Trees I don't really care about. Buildings I kind of care about. This should probably be a little bit more realistic. Terrain vector. Water and waves, I like that high. This is pretty much tweaked so that we don't have any frame issues. This is the only thing that is a problem. Okay, so that's where you would do it. Then you hit apply and save. Okay, cameras, I'm not going to look into that at the moment. Traffic, we currently have traffic set to off. So the air traffic type is off. If you enable these, it does slow the performance down. So I keep it off just for performance sake at this point. When I switch to a higher, more powerful computer system, I'll up the ante here. Apply and save. Graphics should show now at full screen. Let's go back. Just want to make sure it took. It did. But when I turn it off, it will it'll remove that. One thing I do want to do here is on the nav aids. Landing pad on. Landmark markers can be off. City markers can be off. That can be off. That should be off. That's annoying. User experience. If enabled, air traffic control will always default to the departure runway arrivals. Approach and procedure is defined in the original flight plan regardless of current weather conditions. If disabled, ATC will decide the active runway and approach depending on current conditions, including, so this really should be disabled. So air traffic control can switch my approach and my landing. For now, I'm going to leave it on. For simplicity, later I will be switching that off. This can be off. Just whether the checklist management UI panel should be open by default at the start of a flight. Don't really need that on. Okay, that's all good stuff right there. Taxi ribbons on. Landing path, I don't know that we need that. Landing path, just whether you want to see a series of on-screen markers shown in the world to guide the optimal approach path during free flight and supported activities. Note that some activities will restrict the number of supported assistance features. Okay, so do we want to see that on-screen markers shown in the world to guide the optimal approach path? I don't usually see that, so we'll leave it on. Apply and save. Go back. Again, the assistance options. Unlimited fuel is off. We always set that in cold and dark. These are the settings for the flight simulator. We're going to turn the icing effect on because we're going to be doing a little bit of that. Nav aids. We don't really need this to that. Custom is fine. Let's look at the nav aids again. Yeah, that's fine. All of these are set to off. Don't need any of those. Piloting. This is the one I was struggling with yesterday. This is an Xbox issue. The point of interest thing is what I'm looking for. Smart cam mode. Landmark markers. All of these should be off. Okay, apply and save. We're going to get out here now. All right, so let's get out. Going back. And we're going to switch the aircraft at this point to the CFM model. This is what we flew today, the A320 IAE. Flies for 7 hours. Next time we're going to pick this guy and we'll put it in, what other liveries do we have? We have American. Oh, okay. We use the American livery. And that'll be our next flight. All right, for beginners to start a flight, what you want to do is come in here and we'll pick something We'll just pick, for example, John F. Kennedy, so KJFK. There it is, you select it. You'll have a flight plan set up in SimBrief, which I don't at this point, although I could. I'll set one up. So I'm going to go to SimBrief right now. We'll edit the flight. I don't know if you can see this. Doesn't look like you can. Maybe you can. Here's SimBrief. Edit flight. And we're going to set up here today. Use current time. And the starting departure airport will be KJFK. And we'll fly to Miami today. KMIA. So we'll do a flight this afternoon from JFK to Miami. I just set up a flight plan. We'll do it at about we'll do it at going south. We'll do it at 19,000 feet. And there it is set to 19,000. You probably can't see that in the cam. 19,000 feet, done. Now we generate the flight. Runways I'll select later. Fatal error, interesting, very good. Unknown departure airport. Doesn't recognize KKJFK. There we go. KJFK to KMIA, generate the flight. This flight plan will be transferred into the aircraft. And if you can see that on the cam, you can see the actual flight path with the waypoints. Now we'll transfer this over to charts. And here's charts, so we go to flights, unlock it, import a flight that we just did, and then import from SimBrief. And then the new flight shows up right there. We download it. And it downloads the flight, so we can see it in charts on Navigraph. And there it is. JFK to Miami, all the waypoints in between. It's assigning me runway 22 right at JFK and 8R at Miami, which means I'll have to do a go around to the west side of the airport. And that's all set to go. So when we fly this afternoon, it'll be JFK. So now, what you do, once you have that, you have it set up just like this. You don't do anything more. The runway doesn't really matter. What we're going to do is we're at JFK. And we're going to actually try to locate that runway. I don't know why I did that. Let's do this again. JFK. Now this gate, wow, what is it doing? Let's give us 22R. I don't want this, I want this blank. Let's delete that. Glitches. JFK. Alright, now. it's giving us 22R. So 22R is right here, which is a partial runway apparently. So we're going to taxi from, we'll pick a parking spot close by. Maybe right here. Let's get it at a gate. C1000, that's our departure point. Now when we go in, you'll be in cold and dark. So we're going to use 22R. We're parked at the gate. Now all you have to do is hit fly, and you'll be at the gate. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then this stream will end, and we'll resume streaming later. But I want to show you that it ends up at the gate cold and dark. So that's something that I should have covered in the beginning of the flight, and I may do that on the next stream. So this stream is for educational purposes. You can see all my mistakes. If you're learning how to fly Flight Simulator, the A320, the Phoenix version, here's Phoenix coming up on the screen. It's loading the mod. You'll see that in a moment. I see the Phoenix mod loading. I guess it doesn't show up on that screen. That's interesting. It shows up on my screen, but not on the stream. And we're doing a pretty big load. Wow, very slow load. Yeah, laptop getting pretty warm. So now we're going to come into JFK. There it is. It's Flushing Bay right there. Now if we go ready to fly, there you can see that this is interesting. It's spawned with no landing gear. It's actually just hovering over the airport. And there's our catering, so it's showing GSX. We're going to hit ready to fly. And now you can see we're in. Let's shut this down. Let's go externally for a moment. Landing gear has magically appeared. GSX ground crew is all there. Jetway is attached. Is it attached? Yeah, it is. The jetways look a little bit more realistic. GSX is kind of, I don't have this set to high graphics, so it's on high, not ultra. So we're ready to go. Everybody's there. The ground crew is there. Back in the cockpit. So we're in cold and dark. So by setting it to the gate location, it puts everything in the cold and dark state. Cold and dark meaning everything is off. And here we are. That's another jetway. Here we are in JFK, ready to go. The next thing we would do would be turn on the EFB pads for the flight simulator to recognize the fact that we have a SimBrief flight plan already filed. And that's how you do it. So now, I think at this point, if I check GSX, it would probably be working. Let's check it. So it didn't work last time. And there she is. Request deboarding, request cafeteria service, catering service, refueling, start boarding, pushback, operate the jetway, operate stairs if you want, additional services. So that'd be fuel, de-icing. If you clicked it, customize this parking position, reposition the aircraft. Right now it's recognizing SimBrief. If I go here to additional services 8, let's see what it's got. Requires a ground power unit, request de-icing, request lavatory services, request water services, customize the airport positions, reload SimBrief. Don't know why it keeps on doing that. But anyways, there you go. So this thing is ready to go on the next stream. We're going to let GSX empty itself. I may have to go empty myself. Oh, there we go, GSX menu. Let's put this here. And close GSX menu. And we're ready to end the stream. So we'll come back in about 2 hours or so. We'll complete the stream from JFK to Miami, and we'll start from cold and dark. Please join me later. I'm going to post this on Facebook, and hopefully some people will join, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks again for joining. Sorry for all the glitches today, but it was good. It was good to figure out, and a lot of instructional for everybody. So we'll be leaving the stream at this point. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you soon.